Get ready for both guys. I have the power to click the start game. I get to click this button for the first big North American Heart of the Swarm tournament. That's an exciting moment. The countdown has now commenced. Gamma Bears Sen versus Root Vibe Taiwan versus North America here in the round of 32 for the MLG Pro Circuit.
And also, one of the things I want to talk about as this game is getting all loaded up and started is that ZVZ, we mentioned this a little bit before, is a completely different ball game now. But it's kind of interesting because if you think about the two new units that Zerg got, you're going to be having the Viper, you're going to be having the Swarm Host. We've seen Zerg players try and utilize the Swarm Host before, but Zerglings just kind of run right around them. So if you don't have them in the absolute perfect position, then that can be an absolute problem for you. And Mutalisks are also a lot quicker, so you have to watch out for that. Vipers you don't see too often.
No, it generally doesn't get to that stage, and even if it does, you've got to wonder what use would the Viper be. But here we are, folks. We're here on this classic map. Daybreak is not going anywhere, at least for the initial start of Heart of the Swarm, and it's my pleasure to introduce our first player of the day. Spawning to the southwest position on MLG Daybreak, hailing from Taiwan, and the team Gamma Bears. It is none other than Sen.
And up in the top right side, his opponent, who is not only handsome, he's very friendly, and has actually been playing a lot more recently. It is going to be Vibe.
Oh yeah, Team Root versus Team Gamma Bears is always a fun match whenever it happens, which is extremely rare, unfortunately. Most of the other Gamma Bears guys don't really play outside of Taiwan. They focus on the leagues over there, and Sen is their guy that they generally send to foreign events. He, of course, qualified by beating Moonglade in another Zerg versus Zerg. So you've got to think to yourself, well, Moonglade's been performing really well in Heart of the Swarm Beta so far. He's a well-known player. He's always been one of Australia's best. So is that indicative of what's going to be happening here? And then you've got to think about, well, how's Vibe prepared for this? He's on a vibrant team, pun intended, and he has a lot of great practice partners en route. Now, what is he going to do? And considering he's had weeks to prepare for this, he's known with, these guys have known who they're up against for a long time. What is his actual plan? Well, we're seeing from both of them to start off with. We're going to go Hatch first. Now, Sen going into an Extractor pretty early on, which is a deviation of what we're seeing from Vibe, who is currently gasless, and he's gone for Pool first. So, a couple of little variations so far.
This is kind of what I like to call the gentleman's agreement in ZVZ, where they both go ahead and go hatchery first. Now, a hatchery first is one of those builds that it's very terrifying to do as Zerg, but it's actually pretty good in this matchup if you can manage to defend any sort of early pressure. And again, the reason it's terrifying in this matchup is because Zerglings are so fast. They're the fastest unit throughout the majority of the game, really, so you have to be super careful going that. But both these players, maybe they made eye contact and they're like, don't you dare rush me. And again, the only difference is going to be that little bit of early gas, and sometimes you can see roaches for defense on the ramp. Sometimes you can see Zergling pressure, even early Zergling pressure. Even though there is an early expand, a lot of times games can still be won or lost in the early stages.
Well, what I'm seeing here is Sen has lined his pool up about with around the 100 gas mark, So this could mean he's going straight into speed. That's a possibility. He could, as you say, go Roach. He could go Baneling. It's not entirely uncommon, but with the hatch down first, speed seems more likely. And there it is from Gamma Bears Sen. And there's not going to be a big gap in between the speed for both these guys. So I don't think there's really an opportunity for Sen to exploit that unless Vibe decides not to go speed. And it's interesting, he's gone past 100 gas and he hasn't gone, there we go, speed is now begun. So we're looking at it here, there's a 20-second gap he could exploit for a little bit of harassment timing. Like, it wouldn't kill Vibe, but he could do it. It's more likely, though, that we're just going to see him play fairly passively, at least in this first game. It's a best of 5. He wants to get a feel for his opponent. And we're actually seeing the first defensive Baneling nest immediately followed by Sen's right there on the map.
Yeah, and I definitely like, so far what Vibe has decided to do here is slightly more economical. He got his queens out just a little bit earlier, and he really sacrificed his Zergling speed timing just a little bit. Even his Baneling nest is going to be a smidge ahead. So really, if Sen is unable to utilize the Zergling speed advantage he has, he's going to be a tiny bit behind. You can see 4 more drones going to be on the way right now. Sen just now going to be building those. Overall, the worker count is about the same. Sen does have a slight lead there, but John, right now you can see that both players still just macroing up on the drones. They are both going for the defensive Baneling nest. The reason we can tell is because, well, there's not a million Zerglings. We do see one
nice
link
move
getting
by
in, though.
Vibe. Yeah, that was great. And he actually sees the end of the speed coming in, which is great information.
It looks like Sin's going to be returning the favor, though. He's going to attempt to run out the ramp. Unable to block it as his own speed was just a couple of seconds away. And as we were saying, you know, punishing your opponent for not having that speed, Starcraft is a game of seconds. He was able to get much better scouting intel because of that speed.
Now, Vibe is going very quickly up to 4 gas here. Sen choosing to go 3 and go Roach Warren. So that's the first big tech deviation that we're seeing here. Now, with that many gas coming down, in fact, you know, he's been running on 1 gas for this long. And with that much gas coming in, that does indicate a lair play. It does indicate Mutalisk as a most likely option, since Mutalisks are now faster and they do have that regeneration ability, and they are just more viable. And in this matchup, it could work out. Vibe with a couple of defensive banelings being put down just to say, hey, in fact, he is going to try and get a little bit... is he actually going to get aggressive with this? He's only going with 2 banelings, so he's not all that committed to it. He wants to try and do a little bit of damage, but Sen's got his own defensive banelings here as well, and those banelings have already been spotted here by Sen Zergling, who is it's going to be a noble sacrifice right here. Oh, intercepted and taken out. Yep, I like it, I like it. And you might think, oh, well, those are clearly offensive banelings. Well, not really. He didn't have enough units to go in there and do major damage. He wanted to posture, he wanted to pressure. He's trying to buy time. He must buy time because he's gone early lair, and he's trying to get up what looks to be like a Spire play.
Yeah, but it's kind of interesting right here, Total Biscuit, as we do have the Roaches going to be moving out. This is a lot of Roaches from Sin. He could really be looking for an aggressive timing here.
Yeah.
It looks like he's going to leave his Zerglings and Banelings back at home for now. But this is very interesting because we're seeing sort of a similar play style as far as the expansion timings, but we're seeing a drastically different game here based on the tech timings. We have the Spire on the way. 3 Spine Callers are on the way for Vibe. He's got a feeling something's up, cancels the hatchery, is going to back up, and at this point he knows if he holds this, he can do a lot of damage with his Mutas, but man, is it going to be tough.
That's going to be very difficult to hold. With that many Roaches coming in, he needs to buy time for the Spines to come up. There is only 1 up and 3 more on the way. The Queen's there as well. It depends how long Sen decides to wait. There's some Banelings coming in here as well. 1 splash goes off already, not doing much damage at this stage. And now he wants to take that Spinecrawler down before it's even get up. He's able to do that. And now Vibe moving in, trying to get the surround, not able to do that. Banelings come in. Oh, big cancellation there. Sen gets the better half of that trade. And now the pressure comes in. There's no time for these Mutalisks to come out. He must hold. The Spinecrawlers are finished now. If he can hold this until Mutalisks come out, this is going to be absolutely huge for Vibe. And he's doing all right. He's picking off Roaches left and right. He's not doing badly at all against this. If Sen goes home right now, then he's going to be in a lot of trouble because Mutas are about to pop out, and Sen doesn't have an answer to that right now.
And taking a look, he doesn't know about the lair tech. He doesn't know about the Spire. He might have thought he did enough there to go ahead and fall back home to macro up. He does have a Hydra Den on the way, which can be used if microed perfectly. Although so far, Sin's micro has not been perfect. He's got to be careful. These Roaches are very vulnerable. He's got to get a surround here with the Lynx. He might be able to kill off every single Roach. Usually you would not expect Zerglings to be this good versus the Roaches, but with the huge surround, remember that Zerglings, they only cost minerals. The Roaches have that gas cost. He takes them all out. Now he only has to worry about the Hydras. He's got 10 Mutalisks on the way. He's got to be careful of the Bane, but I think he's going to be just fine here. 1 Ling got to try and sacrifice himself, but take a look at the defense from Sen. He has no idea about these Mutas right now.
He hasn't built any Hydralisks. He's building more Roaches because he thinks a ground offensive is coming. In reality, what he's going to be hit by is a large number of Mutas. There are not enough Spore Crawlers and Queens on the ground to actually stop 10 Mutalisks at this stage. This is going to hit hard, it's going to hit fast, and there's pressure that Vibe is currently applying on the ground, and now the surprise comes in. Hey, I got Mutalisks. You can't use Banelings effective against me anymore because I can snipe them before they get there. These Roaches are going to get hit as well. Spore Crawler coming in right there, and once the additional Mutas come in, this could be tricky. Hydras are coming down, but there's nowhere near enough yet to stop this many Mutas.
I gotta say, it's gonna be tough to take out that 3rd base because there is enough defense there, whether it's static, whether it's the Queens, or whether it's soon to be the Hydras. So he's gonna have to move into the natural. Decides not to commit there with those Lings. The Mutalisks swooping in, but really you don't want to be going for the Roaches. Every single drone you can kill, they're basically worth their weight in gold in this matchup because it's so difficult to begin making them. You can see more and more Mutas on the way.
Nice run by there, coming in from Vibe. He draws the defense away from the 3rd base and then strikes the mineral line. More Roaches being taken out. Baneling Nest under threat as well at the front there. There's a lot of Hydras coming out now. There should be enough to deal with this, but this 3rd base is probably going to down. And I mean, to me, this is a win for Vibe in the sense that he has taken that 3rd base out, done significant economic damage. If he's able to pull back with those Mutalisks, which he can do before he gets hit by the Hydras, he should be totally fine just going back on defense here. He's going to have that 1 base advantage.
Manages to get these Roaches in that position as well. Those Lings just being absolutely pivotal in these battles so far. The Mutalisks, though, are separated a little bit. They have to be careful going up against those Hydras because the Hydras basically have machine guns when they're shooting down air units.
Lings
they attack
engaging,
very quickly. It does look like the Lings able to get that surround and able to kill off a couple of those. I gotta say, TB, his Ling usage has been phenomenal so far. far.
It's been great to see him supporting on the ground, doing a lot of damage to the Hydras, using the links. He keeps most of the Mutalisks alive. He didn't lose that many at all, maybe 1 or 2 here and there. His micro's been really good so far, and as a result, Sen is in a pretty bad way. He's been menaced by Vive, who currently has this really nice amount of momentum going on. And the funny thing is, even though he's on 3 bases, Vibe is still running on a very low drone count. So I have to wonder, what we're watching here is like, Vibe's doing really, really well, but has he been able to exploit that? He's had to spend so much lava and so much resources on units that he hasn't been able to saturate those 3 bases and really make use of that economical advantage. You see, the 3rd base only has 2 workers on it right now.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. I mean, you take a look at the units lost, it's about 2,500 resources lost more for Sen, but like you were saying, I mean, he hasn't actually lost that many drones at the end of the day. Now, it does look like that first gas is going to go down. That's a huge frustration for Zerg, just because you need that gas, whether it's for Mutas, Hydras, Infestors.
Sen! Oh, Sen's not awake. He loses a group of Hydralisks to Banelings. Slow Banelings. That should never have happened.
Yeah, especially since they don't have that centrifugal hooks just yet, but it does look like right now the Mutalisks, they're dominating the skies, taking those out. Here comes a huge attack. I wouldn't even call it a run-by. This is just a straight-on offensive at that 3rd base. Sen, you mentioned there was only 2 drones at 1 expansion for Vibe. Well, guess what? He may lose the expansion itself. There is a lot of Roaches and Hydras in here. Remember, you can upgrade the Hydras now to move faster off of Trape, but Vibe powering those drones on the back of this 12 drones on the way. Sen is unable to keep up. He loses that hatchery. He's now behind in the workers. He's going to be further behind. And it looks like Vibe might be able to just march right in here, kill off a couple more Hydras. He killed more drones at that natural. You can see they're in the red there. A Baneling must have slipped by. 41 drones here to 56.
This Mutalisk control right here by Vibe is looking pretty good. He's slipping up here and there, running into Hydralisk. He's down to 11. He was on 15. He's taking more damage. He's going to run for Spore Crawler. He manages to get away without losing another Mutalisk. But as you said, he was able on the back of that to do a big drone power-up. Yeah, he powers through 12 more drones, taking up to 56 versus 36, and now he's on 4 bases. He has the lava advantage. It's 4 on 2 in terms of his economy, and now he's in a great position.
Now, one thing I do want to say here, TB, is that the +2 attack is actually nearly done here for Sen, and the Mutalisk cannot engage us directly, so he has to consistently counterattack to buy time, because this army for Sen right now is actually still kind of terrifying. Army supply 62, but he does have the attack upgrade, and in a straight-on battle, those Mutas aren't going to be as effective as you might think. So if Sen can get the perfect timing here, maybe take out a couple of Mutalisks there as well. But again, his army gets away from him, a little bit out of position. The Mutas are going to get some free kills.
Sen's control has not been good this game so far. Those Hydras are not providing the air cover they need to, and honestly, if Vibe sacrifices those, he's okay if he can just power his ground army together, which he can, because he's got a better economy. He's got 4 bases. He's got more lava to spend, and now the Hydras are exposed. Those Mutas are going to die, and it's not really going to make that much of a difference, because Vibe is just going to say, hey, GG, and knocking on the door, he says, as Vibe takes the first game in this best-of-5 series against Gamma Bears Sen, and he played really well there. That was a good build order. He went for Mutas as I thought he might, but the danger there was that Sen would have been able to hit him hard initially.